read it though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Okay, we are officially live, so we can just have a little bit of a chat whilst we wait for notifications to go out, because I've been extremely slack about advertising that we're doing the knitting book club today.
Oh, yeah, me too. And I've been really slack about doing my washing, so that's what I'm doing at the moment. Oh, that was fast. Oh, that might have been something else. Oh, no, that was the right one.
I think the more you stream, the more they prioritise your notifications too.
Oh, maybe.
Mm.
Okay. So I've re-listened to some of it. I rewatched the fan trailer that some people I follow online made.
There's a few of them. I was trying to find something to do like an intro, hoping that they had an official trailer, but they obviously haven't released anything yet. So
I don't think they've even cast it yet. But there was a campaign earlier this year for them by a team of sort of performers and crew people who made a fan trailer about sort of campaigning for them to cast a disabled actress for the lead role because of the fact that they want like representation by an actor who actually has the disability that the character has.
Well, she does actually have one, which is very convenient, I might add. I can see where that's going.
I saw where it was going. It becomes really relevant in book 2 and 3.
Yeah. Anyway, for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, we're actually talking about V.E. Schwab's A Darker Shade of Magic, which is book 1 of her adult. I would almost call it historical fantasy, to be honest. It's not really. It is fantasy. It's alternate. It's an alternate history.
Alternate worlds, historical fantasy.
Yeah. It's an alternate history. Alternate fantasy. Fantasy alternate history, I think, is the
or alternate history urban fantasy.
Yeah, it would still be it. It'd be a historical urban fantasy. Yeah.
It's really good. I think I like book 2 even more.
Yeah. And you know what?
What?
I enjoyed it.
Hey.
I'm not going to go ranting and raving and fire rained from the heavens and the pillars of earth shook, but I did enjoy it. I'm not an urban fantasy reader. That's not where I like fantasy.
I did say as well, Delilah Bard is definitely a lot less whiny than Addie LaRue.
Okay. That is exactly my point. It's an adult fantasy. They've lived a few years. They've gone down particular life things. And initially wasn't their choice, but they've made choices. They understand that their choices have consequences, and they are living their life as they see fit.
Yeah.
And that's how I try to make my characters, is that kind of, well, yeah, I made the choice to do this, so I have to live with the consequences, not, it's always everyone else's fault.
Yeah.
Sorry. Hi, Ali. I hope you're well. We're actually talking about V.E. Schwab's Darker Shade of Magic tonight. And, oh, yes, of course you need to stay up to 6 a.m. binge watching WandaVision.
Oh, yeah.
because that show is worth binge watching.
That is a perfectly reasonable use of time. Yes. Particularly if you don't have to get up for anything in the morning.
Yes. Well, I am. Oh yeah. Or if you have kids, you just stay up till about 11:30 at night watching podcasts.
I mean, I was up. I actually went to bed early, but I didn't get to sleep until midnight-ish. Well, I might have been getting to sleep earlier. I know I got a message at midnight, and when I got some of the messages, I went and turned my phone on Do Not Disturb.
Okay, you got an iPhone, don't you?
No, I've got a Huawei.
Okay, because my Pixel has a setting where you can turn the phone on its face and it automatically sets up Do Not Disturb.
See, I think mine might have that, but I don't activate it because half the time I put my phone face down and I want to know what's happening.
Well, I have to make a conscious decision to not put it face down unless I really do want to set up Do Not Disturb.
Yeah.
Yes, Ali, I totally agree. I think because they're effectively setting up Scarlet Witch to be the bad guy of a sorts, sort of maybe a misdirected bad guy.
I think they're setting her up to be
she's the faux bad guy. She's the one everyone will be focused on because of what happened on WandaVision.
She's going to be
doing
things that people don't want her to do.
Yes.
For reasons that are absolutely understandable.
Exactly. And because of what this new version of S.H.I.E.L.D. have done, she's going to be set up as the bad guy regardless of what she does.
Well, she's going to be set up by the society as the bad guy, but I think by the actual storytelling as a anti-hero sort of character.
Well, no, I wouldn't even call her an anti-hero because she's only doing what she's made decisions. Okay, what happens in WandaVision was literally a story of grief. You know, a person who has lost so much. She made her own fantasy world to support herself and survive. Humans do that all the time. They just don't have the powers that Wanda has.
Yeah.
So it was an unintended consequence. What happened, where she went wrong, is when she realized what was happening, she couldn't face it. That's where went wrong with her. But I also understand that because you can know you're doing something stupid, but still do it because of things like grief or anger or, you know. So I think she's going to be a scapegoat. I don't think she's going to be a anti-hero. I don't think she's going to be a bad guy. I think she's going to be a scapegoat, particularly for the next Doctor Strange. And she's the misdirect. Everyone's going to be focusing on her when she's not the problem.
Yeah.
Anyway. V.E. Schwab's A Darker Shade of Magic. Yes, shock horror. I enjoyed it. I don't generally read urban fantasy. I had a few missteps a few years ago with urban fantasy, and I don't like, and I also didn't, and I sort of swore it off and didn't want to keep going with it. But this was a pleasant surprise. It had, now, even Victoria herself has said that she does a slow start, a slow burn, and people criticize her for it. And you know what? I didn't think it was slow. I thought it was refreshing to get to know the characters before I had to give a shit about what happened to them.
Well, you're used to that sort of fantasy build-up as well, which it really does.
It's old school. It's old school fantasy build-up where you have three to 5 chapters of just getting to know the characters, getting to know a little bit about their history, their normal life, what they do, things that
all about you.
Yes. And then the shit happens. And when the shit happens, you actually give a shit that Layla has, this has happened to her. You give a shit that Kel has gotten injured and he's been effectively betrayed by people he trusted, or at least was, thought he was under the protection of,
Yeah.
And I just, where she went wrong, Ali, is she realized, I think by about episode 4, she figured out what was happening. And that's where she went wrong. She couldn't face what was happening to fix it. If she'd realized and fixed it straight away, it wouldn't have made a decent story. She had to work through the grief first because she didn't want to lose her vision.
Yeah.
That's what it is. She didn't want to lose him. Once she realized what was going on, she went, well, if I kill it, I'm going to lose my kids and I'm going to lose my vision. So I sort of, to be honest, as a mum, I wouldn't want to face that choice. I really wouldn't. Yeah. Yeah, a beginning before the drama. Yeah, and that is really it's not a long book. It's about I haven't got the physical book. What is it about? 350, 500?
105,000.
Yeah,
Pardon?
so about 350, 450 pages long in like a standard paperback.
The standard paperback is, yeah. The story ends around 380 something.
A good solid
384.
That to me is a good solid fantasy book.
Yeah. Did you see her Instagram stories today though, talking about the new Threads of Power book that she's writing, which is the
I know
sequel
she's
to
having trouble because she's got she's effectively calling it 7 novellas.
Yeah, that's what she said. She was like, people were saying the other one started slow, and it was like 105,000 words. This one is already 90,000 words, and I don't think I'm even halfway through.
You know what though? That's fine because by the time you get to book 4, you're invested in the characters.
Well, exactly. And she's also said like there's a bunch of like flashbacks and stuff that she might end up cutting out and turning into short stories,
which sounds brilliant. And also too though, it's what I love about Victoria's Instagram's feed. And look, as I know, everyone knows I'm not a huge fan of Addie, but I will make the note on Addie is that I keep thinking about the book, which is what a literary book is designed to do. You don't necessarily have to love a book to appreciate how well it's been done. Right. I don't love it for very specific reasons, and it's got to do a lot with whiny, whingy main characters that got themselves into the situation and kept blaming other people. But that's a personal hatred of mine.
Which is why also I've spent the last like 8 months being like, you need to read the Shades of Magic series. Yeah. You need to read the Shades of Magic series.
It's been on my radar to read. It's just
we
not
should
something
add
that I've gotten around to doing.
We should add the villain series to our list because I haven't read it yet, but I feel like it's one that we'll both really enjoy, and it's more like the science fiction superhero sort of style.
I love me an anti-hero. An anti-hero. So I'm planning on getting my hands on next week if I can find it. My QBD is meant to be getting a copy of Extraordinary, which is the comic, which is actually she was saying. Yeah, she was saying that it could be read without reading the 2 novels.
Yeah.
But I do actually want to get my hands on them because I do like a villainy story. Because when you think of it from the point of view that from a different point of view, your main character, who is the hero of your story, may very well be a villain.
Particularly if you like us and like pirates.
Which is another reason why I love Layla.
Yeah. I always knew I was born to be a pirate.
I just love how her entire mission on life is to get a ship and become a pirate. It's just like, you go, girl, go for it.
And she's just like, what? I was like, oh, I think that one will do.
Yes. It sounds like a very.
You gotta read book 2, man. You gotta read book 2. The opening chapter, at least. Read it tonight if you can find it. Just the first chapter. I think it's just the first chapter anyway. It's so good. And it's actually her. It opens. Okay. I'm gonna just tell you how it opens, but not how the chapter pans out.
No, it's all right. We can contain your excitement. Let's talk about book 1 for now.
Okay. Look, book 1 is excellent.
Ellie, to me, there's a difference though. Jumping straight in, like to me, A Darker Shade of Magic, you jumped straight in because you don't have the long-winded. Okay, for example, one of my favorite books is Lord of the Rings. And you have the big preamble at the start explaining what hobbits are, who they are, and what the world they live in is like.
Yeah.
When that to me is not jumping straight in. Jumping straight in to me is, this is Cal, and he's walking up the hallway to meet the king and queen to have a discussion with them about something, why is he there? Who is he? How did he get there? Why is he comparing this London to a different London? that to me is jumping straight in. It's not necessarily having a fight scene on the first chapter in the first page and making you go, well, who are these people and why do I give a shit if they die? It's, for me, jumping straight in is just getting into some semblance of character. Yeah. These guys have lived their life. They've been around for 20, 30 years.
Kel, I think, is 21 and Lila is 19.
Yeah, they're not ancient, but they still have made choices in their life as adults.
And considering it's set in the 1819.
Yeah.
They're adults by
the era. Yes.
By the era, they're very much adults.
Which is what shitted me about Addie, was because she had been aged up. In my opinion, and I know Victoria's the only one that can confirm or deny this, is I reckon she was written as a much younger character and they changed her age to make it more acceptable. Sorry for the moaning, but that is my child.
Yeah, that's okay. That wouldn't surprise me if they did that with Addie, because technically, yes, she is 300 and something, but
when she becomes,
if she doesn't age and she's like 14, and then she's having romantic relationships with like 20-year-olds.
Okay,
in 2020.
I would have accepted around about 16, because a 16-year-old can be very mature looking.
Yeah.
There are people out there, men and women, that at 16 look like they're 19, 18 years old. That I would have accepted. And because of her age and her mannerisms and what she knows about the world, she would have come across as a lot older because of her wording and her education and things like that.
How old was she? She was like 23 or something, wasn't she?
They made out she was about 23 before they forced her to get married. And it's like, no, honey, they would have been forcing her to get married at 16 in that era.
Yeah.
She was an old maid by 16 in that era. That was my big problem with Addie. And the more I think about it, the more I think she was written as a 16, maybe 15-year-old, and they've aged her up to make it more acceptable.
Yeah. I think I'm going to make some grog.
You have some appreciation of your indoor washing line?
Thank you. I have fishing wire strung around many places of the house, and it's invisible until there's stuff hung on it, which is excellent.
Oh, great. I have a growth spurt incoming. I have a child screaming in her sleep.
Oh, dear. Where the fuck did I put my glass?
Well, she was trying to get up on her knees today, so there's going to be crawling happening soon.
Oh, she'll be off like a rocket.
Okay, Allie, you have a good sleep.
Good night, Allie.
Yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, well, okay, let's
summarize the plot, shall we?
Yeah, summarize the plot. Okay.
Kel Maresh is a Antari, which is a blood magician, or rather a very rare form of magician who has the ability to control all 5 elements, and is one of the only magicians who can travel between the different worlds, the different
There's only 2 of them. There's only 2 of them at this time. There used to be hundreds of them.
There used to be lots of them, but they closed the doors between the Londons when Black London fell and was sort of consumed itself by dark magic.
So the history of the world is there used to be 4 Londons, and then one of the Londons got addicted to magic and got consumed by it.
Yes.
And to survive, the other 3 Londons were closed off from it, and as a consequence were closed off from each other as well. And then it was discovered that only these rare Antares could actually use the magic to pass between the barriers of the Londons. And that's sort of his job is to go between the existing 3 Londons that survived and effectively be the form of communication between the monarchs.
Yes.
And so he's a herald. He's actually a magical herald.
Yeah, he's a messenger. And you also, so he is the herald, and he is you find out he was adopted when he was 5 years old and has a memory rune on him that prevents him from remembering any of his life before he was adopted.
Which is going to be so important in book 2 and 3.
Yes. It's one of those sort of background subplots that comes up as a thread. Yes. And you also see that because of this, he feels more like a possession than an actual member of the family that has adopted him, because he is the talented little pet who can travel between worlds, basically.
You know what? I actually agree with that. I reckon he's a slave. I actually think he's a slave. He's not a member of that family. He is a slave.
Except for his adopted brother, Rye, who is the Prince Regent.
Yes. But the only
way... When he actually says that one night when they're drunk, and he says that to Rye, Rye punches him in the face, and he says he has 2 black eyes then.
Yeah. But you know what? You want to know why Rye punched him in the face? Because he was right, and Rye didn't want to admit it.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have Kel, who is one of the main characters. He is the messenger. He can travel between worlds, and as a form of sort of rebellion-ish against... So it is illegal to... Transference is illegal, which means you can't take anything from one world into another. Yes. And he, while he's taking
letters are the exemption.
Letters are the exception. When he's taking the messages,
but the assumption is that the letters are only between the royals.
Yes. And while he is traveling, doing that, he is smuggling trinkets. Yes. And it's not really for any like money gain or anything. It's more for the experience and the sort of collectors.
He is trapped in a situation that he had nothing to do with. He was effectively bonded to the royal family. He's been trained to be something because of his ability, not necessarily because he wanted to be it.
Yeah.
And that's his little form of, I am still me, and this is my choice. That's his little choice of freedom. And it is very subtly hinted at that's pretty much probably why he started it, is because it was just that one little, I think it's Layla that says it, is there's people that steal because they have to, and then there's people that steal, what's she say? There's people that steal because they have to survive, and people that steal because for the thrill or something.
Yeah.
And he's sort of,
which are you? She says both.
Sorry?
Does he say which are you? And she says both. I didn't get up to that bit today.
No, he she's definitely a kill to survive person.
Yeah.
But he was she calls him a smuggler. She calls him out for being a smuggler, which is exactly what he was. And when he sort of objects to it, she says, well, there's people that do this kind of thing because they have to survive, which is what she effectively was. And then there's people that do it because for the thrill. And he's effectively he was doing it because he didn't need to do it to survive, but he definitely was doing it to feel something.
Yeah. So he was doing it to survive mentally, really.
Yeah, it's a thrill. It's a mental thing over. He doesn't need to eat. He doesn't need to spend money on food. He doesn't need to worry about this and that. But also too, though, I think is, and I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's part of the situation. Is he is a slave. Layla has freedom. She chose her life. Okay, it comes out very, very right near the end. Her father effectively sold her to pay his bar tab. And that was when she killed her first man, where she killed the man that was effectively going to rape her. And so, but after that, the minute she grabbed that knife and shoved that knife into the guy's guts and killed him, she made a decision to live her life her way. she has more freedoms than Cal, even though he has the splendor, the money, the nice clothes and all that. He effectively is bonded to this royal family that do care for him. You think, although I think it's debatable whether or not the king and queen actually care for him, particularly at the end when they've got him in chains. And it's like, well, hang on, they were possessed. They knew they had been possessed. They knew what had happened, not necessarily why they'd been possessed or what had actually happened, but they knew they had been possessed, yet they still had the one person who actually could have told them what was actually going on in chains. This person that they pretend to be their son. Wouldn't it be more of a, we're going to, dampen your magic for now until we have a conversation. And once we have that conversation, we'll see what happens. Wouldn't it be more if it was a trusting family relationship?
Yeah.
So
you really see something that she does really well is that dynamic of the supposed adoptive family that insist on him calling her mother and stuff like that. And then
but they're not.
And then as soon as he supposedly breaks the rules, they immediately blame him and turn on him because they're clearly like very afraid of the amount of power that he has. In terms of
it's a control thing, and it actually is a control thing. It's telling someone or telling a 5-year-old, this is your family now, that I am your mother now, is a control thing. And that's what it is. It's all about control.
Yeah.
Which is why Cal is stealing is smuggling, because that's the one thing he can control.
Yeah.
And look, and that's what I like, and that's what I enjoyed so much about this is, and I sort of saw hints of it in Addie, but I was just too busy being annoyed by the whingy protagonist. But this is the writing I like, when there's very, very subtle hints all through it about an underlying tension or an underlying story that you're not being told, but it just enriches what you are being told because there's more to it. It's that it's that two characters looking at each other and understanding something that no one else in the room knows. And it's like, well, hang on, what did I understand? And are we going to find out? So, yes. Which is probably why she's having so much trouble writing the fourth book. Because she's obviously got a lot of threads happening.
Well, each book expands the amount of point of view characters and moves,
which is what I plan on doing too.
Into protagonist roles. Yeah. And so in Threads of Power, you have some core cast from the original books, plus I think about 4 new characters that we're following.
Okay.
And
I'm looking forward to Holland coming back. Yeah, it's very obvious. I'm sorry, spoilers, but I mean, seriously, they're hard to kill, and he gets sent to the one place that's so infused with magic, it's ridiculous.
And he's not dead yet. I think that's the biggest clue. If you don't see him actually completely dead,
he's coming back, honey.
He's probably coming back.
Although I am disappointed. I am disappointed that he does kill the 2 main antagonists, because they were cool. I wanted to see them fuck things up more.
Oh, the Dane twins?
Yeah. I wanted to see them fuck up things big time. I really did. Because they were nasty. They were in it for the blood.
They really were.
But
they I just realized I can change my light. I haven't done that yet. They don't come back.
No, they're dead. They are dead.
Yeah, the second book is more sort of like the fun and games shenanigans books, while the overall arc of the 3 books is still carrying on. And then the third book is trying to
rein it all in and get ready for the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's look, okay, let's talk a little bit about the techniques. Her writing is immaculate, and I even said that, I think, about Addie. I love her writing. I think it's
She has
amazing.
absolutely beautiful prose. And she
Yes,
does
yes,
have like a history of writing poetry as well. And she has
yes,
very sort of poetic, beautifully written prose.
yes. And
Like
also
the
too,
opening
though, the
line.
setting suits her writing. Like, she's writing,
Yeah.
it's like Addie. Her writing suited the story of Addie.
Yeah.
And that's like, I don't know if I believe Vicious and Vengeful are they a sci-fi world? Or are they still magical?
I think they're science fiction. I think
Or are they
they're
science fantasy?
I'm not sure. I'd have to look it
Because
up, but I
because
think it's
I'd be
science.
very interested to see if her prose changes in a science fiction world, because I write fantasy and science fiction, and I do know my writing style changes from one to the other, because you can be a bit more flowery in fantasy, and in science fiction I feel like you got to be a bit more sort of hard lined, I guess is the way to put it. So
Yeah.
I'm very interested to see if it changes, or if she adapts it in any particular way. I think that would be very interesting.
I look at it as I use a slightly different narrative style
Yes.
in the fantasy that I'm writing compared to my sci-fi.
Yeah, that's it. It's your
However,
narrative
there
changes.
is
Yeah.
there is pretty much the similar like voice and humor carried across, just using different language to
Yeah,
portray that.
but it's your language, but that's the important thing. Your tone is
Change
similar,
language. Yeah.
but your wording and your expressions change. And that I'd be very, very interested to see if that happens.
I would say it probably will.
I think it will too, because she is clearly an extremely good writer. Yeah, so I did enjoy it. Unfortunately, I'm not in a fantasy mood, so I did struggle to keep reading it. It's like, okay, Law. I read the first 80 pages of Law, put it down, and never picked it up again. It's YA, it's modern urban fantasy. It's none of the things I like. The only reason I grabbed it and picked it up was because it was about Greek mythology. Which, I'm sorry, but 80 pages in, I still wasn't getting enough of it to keep me going. When Addie, I was happy to read to the end. But this one, because, yes, urban fantasy, but it also...
It's sort of grungy.
It's adult. I'm very quickly coming to a very unpleasant mentality where YA, and I'm trying to change my mentality around YA, because that's where a lot of the fantasy is being written at the moment, and I really do love reading a good fantasy book. But
it's the difference for me between YA and adult isn't the content, it's the narrative voice.
Yeah, and in YA, for me, the protagonist is always, oh, woe is me, everyone's against me, even when they're not. And
I'm a very insecure but clearly beautiful young teenage girl.
But in adult, they've taken responsibility for what they've done in the past. And I mean, I know you're not a fan of I must admit, when I reread the second Richard Morgan book, I was a bit disappointed too. I still want to go back and reread the third one. Because I do remember that one being a lot better. I do remember that. But he had responsibility. He had taken responsibility for his life. He had made choices. You know, he had gone. Now, he was trained in such a way. Takashi was trained in such a way that he couldn't really get a decent job after he left the Corps, because he was such a killer. So so pretty much he ended up in the crime because of his training. But he accepted that, and he ran his life the way he saw fit in that situation. You know, if it had been a YA, it would have been, oh, they didn't tell me They didn't tell me that I would never get a job after becoming an envoy. Oh, woe is me. And then my government abandoned me and it's all their fault. And I'm just like, that's my personal that seems to be, the more I read of YA, it just seems to be more that. And I like the Hunger Games, yet she still plays the victim.
Yeah.
Her entire issue about not choosing one between the two men that clearly love her because she's something special. Yeah, right, honey. Is sorry, but her entire reasoning for not making a decision is because, oh no, I can't love, because if I love, then I'll end up getting married and having kids, and I don't want my kids to grow up in this world that's so horrible. And it's like, well, you know what? I reckon someone who would get married and have kids would be extremely fucking brave in that world. Oh, now I want chocolate.
Sorry, Becca. I keep stealing chocolate bars out and then having to buy more to replace them.
That's all right. You can't send anything overseas at the moment anyway. It takes fucking 6 months.
I think I can send it. I just haven't got around to finishing off some of the things I'm sending.
Oh, you can send it, but it won't. It probably will sit in a bloody sorting house for the next 6 weeks before Christmas ends.
Yeah. This is true. Yes. I will say the thing that one of the first things that made me want to pick up this book and read it was actually some fan art that I saw on Instagram. And I have it bookmarked so I can share the screen and show you.
Hi, Jacqueline. I hope you're well. We're actually talking tonight. We are talking about The Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. You've missed my little rant about YA versus adult protagonists, but safe to say is this is an adult urban fantasy, and I really enjoyed it. And I'm actually knitting, even though Shah's not. This is meant to be the knitting book club, but now I want chocolate. Yes. Yeah, so you saw some fan art.
So I saw some fan art, and it was just when Kel wakes up after Lila has knocked him out.
Oh, yes, and he's tied to her bed.
And this is the fan art that I saw that made me want to read the book. It's just like, what are you really? Tied to your bed.
Yes, I love that line.
The best. Yeah. I aspire to write dialogue this brilliant and sassy.
Yes.
Oh. Anyway, I saw this fan art and I was like, man, I want to read that book now.
Yes. No, I love that line. I thought that was the best line. Because it's true. I mean, what would you say? Who are you? Well, tied to your bed.
Oh, it's so good.
Yep.
Anyway. Well, there we go.
Well, Jacqueline, we do have a back catalogue of about 14 episodes now of the Knitting Book Club. It hasn't quite caught on yet.
We get like a couple of people coming in every now and then.
Yeah. It depends on the book, I think, too, because some people just aren't interested in some of the books that we're talking about. Which is fine. We're having fun, and the important thing is I'm getting some knitting done.
I will pick mine up eventually. Maybe what I should start doing is doing my pirate shirt. Although I haven't done any of the measurements for it, so that's kind of pointless.
No, get your for fuck's sake jumper finished, girl.
Yeah. I might get that finished by season 3 of the Knitting Book Club.
Well, you did. The whole reason we started this was because you went, oh yeah, I've got this jumper I haven't finished yet.
And then 50% of the time I don't even work on it.
No. Well, you've left it up at the farm a few times too.
No, I've left
Oh.
it here and been at the farm a few times.
My lovely fireplace. Isn't it
Yes.
gorgeous?
Oh, did I tell you Mum asked me about that? I think she was watching last month a little bit at the start.
Oh yeah.
And she was like, that fireplace behind Renee looks very cozy. And I was like, oh yeah. It's like, was that real? And I was like, no, Mum, it was green screen. She was like, what's green screen?
Well, you know what? That tells me at least I've got my lighting pretty decent, so it actually looks like I fit in the. I know I'm a lot brighter than the background, but I have 2 young kids under 3. Do you really think I have candles in the house?
Oh.
I actually do have candles in the house, but they're locked away at the moment.
I have a lot of lights, no candles. I'm sure I had candles somewhere. I think I must have burnt them all. Oh, there's one, but I think it's burnt out. Yeah,
I still have a tub, like a little. It's only a little tub. It's like a good decent size one, of party light candles. Have you ever done one of them? The party light candles? They're like Tupperware, but they're light. At my job that I left 15, 20 years ago, I still got them. Because when I moved in with my now husband, we were living in one of those little flat packed cabins that behind, like a granny flat, and I was too frightened to use them. The whole place would go up if I wasn't careful. So they're just pieces that they probably don't smell anymore anyway, but we'll see. I'll pull them out in about 10 years when I can trust the kids around flame. Oh dear. So you're in SoCal, California?
South California, maybe?
I don't know.
Oh.
Sorry, we're in Australia, Jacqueline. So, yeah, not very familiar with the
abbreviations.
Yeah. Yes. So yeah. So, but and wind's been so bad we cannot have a fire. Yeah. Well, I don't have a fire because I have 2 kids under 3. So this is the closest I get to a fire. This and the ambient fireplace, crackling fireplace in the library, when I'm trying to get some writing done. That's a really nice ambience to have going. Although recently I've discovered the space battle one. There's a few of them out there. They're pretty good too. Particularly when you're writing the sci-fi and they're in the middle of shooting everyone up. So, that's always good to have. You're rereading the book now, aren't you?
I found the page with the argument with that quote from the fan art, and now I'm just skipping. And it's such a great argument.
Yes. Well, it's effectively their first conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Delilah Bard.
Oh wait, I just want to read this quick paragraph. Hang on, she looked young but sharp, bony in a starved bird kind of way. The only roundness came from her eyes, both brown but not quite the same shade. He opened his mouth, intending to start their conversation with a question like, "Will you untie me?" or "Where is the stone?" but instead found himself saying, "One of your eyes is lighter than the other." "And one of your eyes is black," she shot back. She sounded cautious but not frightened. Or if she was very good at hiding it. "What are you?" she asked. "A monster," said Kel hoarsely. "You'd better let me go." The girl gave a small, mocking laugh. "Monsters don't faint in the presence of ladies." "Ladies don't dress like men and pick pockets," retorted Kel. Her smile only sharpened. "What are you, really?" "Tied to your bed," said Kel matter-of-factly. "And?" His brow furrowed. "And in trouble." That at least garnered a sliver of surprise, aside from the obvious being tied to my bed. "Yes," said Cal, struggling to sit up a little despite the bind so he could look her in the eye. I need you to let me go and give me back the thing you stole.
Oh dear.
What are you? Tied to your bed.
Jacqueline, I'm actually knitting a cardigan. I'm on this. I'm one of those people that likes to do the sleeves. So I get the body to a certain point, and then I do the sleeves, and then I keep going with the body. But I'm actually steeking it. So I've knitted it completely in the round. I even steeked the armholes. So, but yes, round and round I go. When I stop will be when I run out of light bulb stitch markers telling me I've done 10 rows every marker.
Oh, I really need to reread this whole book now. It's so good.
Oh, Jacqueline, I can tell you why I don't have more subscribers is because I'm a critical broken bitch that says what she thinks. Sorry. But one of my things is there was this Instagram, you know, those where you do the screenshot and you answer questions. And one of them was, would you ever write a book on writing? And my answer to that was, I give it all away for free on my very opinionated YouTube channel. So why would I ever write a book?
Oh, bugger, I left that bag out in the kitchen.
Oh, Jacqueline, the pattern is a la me. I'm literally making it up as I go. So it may or may not work. I may do all this knitting for naught. Now, what I did was I have a jacket I really like, and so I took the measurements from the jacket that I really like, and I have obviously done a swatch and did some calculations, and went from there. So check back in about 6 months. I may have finished it, and by then we would know whether or not it worked.
I just remembered I didn't have my pattern, and I just grabbed the actual knitting.
Thank you, Jacqueline. We try to be amusing. We do.
All right, where's my pattern? I actually got my knitting out. Look.
Woohoo! Charlotte got a knitting out. Charlotte got a knitting.
I don't want to pull it off, but you can see the fox. Well, you can see the fox's butt and feet. We're in Australia, Jacqueline.
Yeah.
So we're both in Melbourne, which is
Melbourne, Australia.
Coffee capital of the world.
And both coffee snobs.
Yes, very much so. My coffee was slightly burnt taste this morning, but
oh, bugger, I hate that shit.
Yeah, I think they just need to clean their machine a little bit more.
Oh, see, I told you, since I got my Chemex, I just cannot face coffee machine.
This is what I'm missing. But it says 4 up the top, and then there's the fox, and then there's sake underneath. So I'm like halfway.
There's also a mug that says that.
I do have a mug that says that, which is where I got the idea. And I found the fox crochet pattern and went from there.
Yes.
Am I on a switching light? Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I fucked up a stitch there.
No, it's all right, honey. Don't worry about it.
It's actually fine because I know my accent gets confused a lot with British.
If I talk
even
for 5
by people
minutes
in Australia.
If I talk for 5 minutes to a Scottish person, I end up with a Scottish accent.
Oh, I do that too. I feel really bad.
I feel so stupid doing it.
I have what do you call it? Oh, that is my brother. Oh, hello. Sorry. I am on a stream.
Hi.
Yeah, that's all right. I've heard the name.
Just pause for a moment whilst we wait for Charlotte to finish her phone discussion.
Yeah. What?
I'm just muting Charlotte for a minute so she can have a conversation with her brother. Welcome to the chaos, Jacqueline. That's all I can say. if you do go and watch a few of our back videos and chats and lives and streams, you will find out that we are 2 of the 4 Chaos Corner crew. I do highly recommend a few of those videos. We did a discussion with Emily Oliveri, and I think Danny popped in for a while at the time, on the Pirates of the Caribbean films. So we had, I think it's on Charlotte's channel. It's called the Chaos Corner Pirate Edition. We had a great chat about the movies and what we thought about them and all that sort of stuff. And that's a really good one. Well, you have come to the right place. Because as I said earlier, I'm a mum of 2 under 3. So I'm lucky if I can string 2 words together some days that don't include baby and shark. And Charlotte is the god of chaos. So, but have you read Shades of Darker Shade of Magic? Yeah, go for it. We took rules. The only rules we have on this channel is don't be a dick. I don't believe in people being derogatory or all manner of nasty to people for views. I have views that other people don't believe in, and I'm sure there are views that they have that I don't believe in. I just believe that we can have an adult discussion without being a dick. But so yes, so the big shock horror for tonight's stream is I actually enjoyed a fantasy book for the first time in about 10 years. Charlotte, are you meant to be muted still? Cool. She's having a conversation still, just making sure. Well, we'll go a bit off topic whilst we wait for Charlotte to get back. We are in a very strange time because we're an island. We're the world's largest island or the smallest continent, depending on which way you look at it. And we were able to shut ourselves off so well and so effectively that for a very, very long time, we had very minimal amount of cases. Like I'm talking, it was newsworthy to have 2 cases in a state. But now Delta is alive and well, and we are officially 85% double vaxxed in our state, Char? Are we 84 or 85% double vaxxed now in our state? 90? Fuck, that went up quick. Fucking hell. Okay, so yeah, so we officially have a 90% double vax rate. So we are pretty much okay. You may not know this, Jacqueline, but Melbourne is distinguished throughout the entire world for being the city with the longest amount of lockdown days. So even though our percentage of vaccination is extremely high, that's for people over 16, I think it is. I don't think we're counting the 12s and ups yet. But even though I think when you take into account all those under 15 and under, I think would be closer to about 70% vaxxed. We have been very, very cautious in opening up. Extremely cautious in opening up. Because I don't ever want to go down through another lockdown. I am done. I am extremely done with lockdowns. I'll do it if I have to, but I'm done. I just don't want to do them ever again. Because not only is Melbourne got the largest amount of days in lockdown of any city in the world, But I was in what was a hot zone before our big, long crackdown last year, which meant I had an extra 2 weeks on top of that. I'm done with lockdowns. So I don't so that is the one thing I don't have patience for, is people that won't get vaxxed, because I have to take my child to get vaccinations every couple of months, and they have to be vaccinated or they can't go to care, they can't go to school when they're older. So I don't see why a fully fledged adult cannot fucking understand that being vaccinated protects everyone they love. Renee rants. Yeah. Well, see, the thing is with vaccinations. Sorry, that was just a message on my phone. The thing is with vaccinations is the vaccine enters your body. It enters your white blood cells. It teaches your body how to fight the virus, and then it is disintegrated and destroyed by your body. So a lot of the crap that anti-vaxxers whinge about long-term effects of vaccines just don't exist. They just don't exist. And the other thing that really annoys me is that these same people who are screaming and yelling about a vaccine that has about 300 years of research behind it are happy to take this new antiviral pill that is practically brand new on the market and has never actually happened before. And no one knows what it will do. Even though it's gone through the tests and it's been approved by some countries, it is still the first ever we don't get flu pills. I'm ranting. Sorry, I'm ranting.
It's all
I'm
good.
ranting about
My
that
brother
damn
got an eBay
pill.
thing.
Sorry?
And they sent him a return thing. He's in like fucking Bendigo. And they sent him a parcel point return. And there's no parcel points in Bendigo. And he's just like, what do I do with this?
Was that Amazon?
No, it's eBay.
Oh,
and he wants
yeah.
a refund because they sent him the wrong item.
Yeah.
But they're like, yeah, to get the refund, you have to return the thing. And he's like, well, you're not making it very easy.
Yeah, that's because
Give
they
me
don't
an
want
Australia
to.
Post
Yeah.
one or
Well,
something.
do you remember my cat tower that became a acrylic hat?
How many times did they resend that?
No, they didn't resend it. I sent it. I insisted on returning it because I wanted the cat tower. And last I checked, about 8 months ago, it was still stuck in a sorting place in Wuhan.
Then, yeah, a couple
You
of
never
months
get your money
ago,
back.
someone used my card to buy some fancy LED lighting setup or something, computer setup, but like through our account. And then the only way I could get my money back was to cancel my card with the bank so that they would do a thing. I'm pretty sure it must have resolved now. I have to check the dates of when I had to cancel my card. Because they said if Amazon doesn't reply within 30 days, it closes in my favor.
Yeah.
I don't think they replied.
Yeah. It's been tough because our daughter is a pulmonary critical care ICU COVID doctor. Oh my God. Thank her for everyone. Just thank her.
We had mask restrictions. We had mask restrictions until last week, and then we still have them indoors a lot of places.
I'm so confused. Places. I just wear my mask anyway, regardless now.
We don't have to outside if we can social distance anymore because of the high vax rate. I was out the other night at like an outdoor function, so we didn't wear them when we were outdoors, but then if we went indoors, we'd put them on. So I think everyone is basically carrying one in their pocket.
Between the tables. They would have set you up so you had more space between the tables than what they normally
It was all spaced out, yeah. They had it all spaced out. There's specific guidelines and spacing requirements that venues have to operate to.
You see, also too, like just on that thing about looking after the anti-vaxxers, is we here in Australia have a universal healthcare system. So everyone, no matter who they are, gets care. at hospital. It's not always the care they think they deserve, but they get care. And I have said from pretty much since the vaccine was announced and when these anti-vax idiots started their stupidity, as far as I'm concerned, everyone deserves care. Okay, that's Australia. That's the way Australia's always been. We call it Medicare. But my belief is if there is a person who refused to get the vaccination and someone who physically can't get it due to ill health or has only had one shot or two shots and is actually needs the breather, they should be prioritized over the anti-vaxxer. If it gets to the point where we don't have enough breathing machines, where we don't have enough ICU beds, I believe they should prioritize those that didn't have a choice or did go and get it but have underlying issues that still make it a critical problem. Because otherwise our entire ICU units are going to be filled up with people that thought if they waited it out, they would not have to get the vaccine because everyone else around them would do it and then they could just be selfish and not worry about it, like a good portion of our society does when it comes to the flu shot. I am all for mandating flu shots. No, I used to work in retail. I have very specific reasons why I would mandate
all the time.
Because people would rock up into the stores I worked sick. They're so sick they can't go to work, but they can go do some shopping. And I'm not talking food shopping. I'm talking shopping for mattresses.
Yeah.
Which, for me, as someone who doesn't have a lot of money, a mattress is a huge considered purchase. I'm not going to go out when I'm so sick with the flu I can barely think, let alone drive safely, and decide to buy myself a new mattress because I want to think about the purchase before I get it. I made a lot of great deals when I was out working as a seller of mattresses because people would come in and I'm just so desperate for a new mattress. Oh, well, there's a nice comfy one. Show them the $5,000 one. They'll buy it and get one sent to their home the next day. Because
I saw the funniest YouTube short the other day that was someone talking about this artist from some popular thing who is now doing like TikToks and YouTube shorts.
Oh yeah.
And someone was doing a thing about him where they like had a shot from his video and like, this guy's fridge costs $10,000 or whatever. Because they'd seen the model fridge he has in the background and looked at it. And the guy watches the video at the start. It was like, and he's like, honey, did we spend $10,000 on our fridge? And then this woman walks in and was like, oh, we're building a house and you want me to skimp on appliances? and then he's like,
look, I'll admit, our fridge was expensive.
The real wife comes in and is like, yeah, I hired her to play me in this skit. And it's like, well, how much did that cost? And she's like, you don't want to know. And it's like, well, I hope it was less than the fridge.
Well, look, I'll admit our fridge was expensive. It wasn't $10,000, but it was expensive, particularly for us. When we moved into this house, I was pregnant with Mark. We knew we were going to need a family fridge when we'd gotten away with like a little shitty secondhand fridge for many, many years. And I also work for a company that has ties with an appliance store down here in Melbourne. So I was able to get it at a mighty fine discount. And oh my God, your yarn management. Your yarn management sends my anxiety through the roof. But not only was I able to get our fridge for a good deal, but it was a dented product. It had been dented into had been dented on the floor. So we got it at a discount because it was second hand.
Right, should we get back to the actual book? We just went on a tangent about, I don't know, vaccines.
We'll just see if this we don't know. What do you think this is, Jacqueline? This won't end until every person on the planet who has is in the right age to get the vaccine gets it. And you know what?
Dies.
I honestly believe that this won't end until they can vaccinate my kids. And I have a 6-month-old and I have a 2.5-year-old. Until we have a vaccine that is safe for the kids, it's going to become like the flu. It will, like, give it 5 years, it'll be the flu. We'll go in for a flu shot. 2 weeks later, we'll go in for a COVID shot. That's what will happen. But because it mutates on the drop of the hat. But the problem is we've got nations out there that have such low vaccination rates because they can't get the vaccine.
They need to drop the patents on the vaccinations.
Yeah. Thank you, Australian government, for holding on to that one. God, we have a dickwad for a bloody prime minister. Let's not go there, because then we definitely will never talk about the book.
No. We don't really have a prime minister. We just pay some idiot to pretend to be prime minister.
Look, I will admit the one thing I do appreciate about this pandemic is that it's made people very aware that when you're sick, you really shouldn't go to work.
Yes.
And I was one of those people. I'm one of those people that will go, oh, I don't feel well. I'll just go have a shower. No, I really don't feel well. I'll get dressed. I'll have breakfast. I'll get in the car. You get to work and you're like, oh, I'm here now. I'll just work, when you really should be at home in bed. You know, and I think that's the one thing this pandemic has taught us in an age where we are told by the society we live in that we have to work. We have to work. Let's not discuss that story with 2 young kids at home. Charlotte knows my views there. And
no, I think I fucked up my pattern.
Well, you have multiple times. Yeah.
No, I was meant to start bringing the brown back in.
Oh no, you got to tink back, honey.
But I think I need to...
No worries, Jacqueline. Thanks for swinging by. It was good to chat.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Look, we have the ScoMo. That's all I have to say on that matter. We have the ScoMo, and I'm not sure which one was worse, to be honest, because our one actually presents as an intelligent person. Barely. So he's the stupidity sneaks up on you. So
I don't know.
All we have to say is just go look at that environmental summit, the co-op summit, and you'll see how much of an idiot our prime minister was. Oh, fuck. Anyway, we were just waiting for Charlotte to actually come back and let's have a chat.
Now I have to unpick this entire orange bit.
Yep.
And I just unpicked it a little bit too hard.
Time to tink back, honey.
Oh, fuck. I accidentally have gone really tight along here as well.
Oh, dear.
So it just sprang out.
Oh, no.
Also, see you later, Jacqueline. Have a good one.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I don't expect that. Although I would be very happy if I did get 50,000 subscribers, because then I could actually monetize this channel and actually maybe get some... I don't do it for money, but damn, I wouldn't say no if I could.
Yeah, we don't do it for money,
honest.
But
let's be honest.
I mean, I wouldn't complain if I could do it for money.
I've got 2 kids I have to feed here, guys. 2 feeds.
I wouldn't mind spending every day, like the second half of the day I did today, at rehearsals and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Actually, I think I do have your. I've got your show link below now. I might add. Finally, I got the link. Oh dear.
Yes, show link. Anyway, Darker Shade of Magic by Victoria Schwab, who is another brilliant person.
Oh, I love her Instagram channel. Go follow her if you're not already, people, please.
She also has a YouTube channel where she has like a bunch of videos and sort of a podcasty discussion series that I think she did on Instagram and recorded and put over on YouTube as well. Where she just has videos talking about like writing process and discussions with other authors.
Awesome. I should
Which
look that
is
up.
really cool.
But you know what? I've already got like over 100 subs.
Yeah.
Well, I have varied tastes. I have my photography subs. I have my knitting subs. I have my author tube subs. I have my tiny house living subs. I have my van life subs.
She's a great channel to go and watch all of the stuff, but you don't really need to subscribe to it because she's not like actively creating stuff. It's just like a sort of storage platform for a bunch of videos.
Oh yeah. It's the storage where Instagram doesn't keep it. You can sort of store it here on YouTube. I must admit, though, just a bit of another tangent. I am seriously considering really toning down my Instagram and just literally focusing on my email subscribers and YouTube, because I'm just so frustrated. That experiment I run for about 6 weeks about I put a picture up every day for 6 weeks. And my engagement went down. My views went
YouTube
down.
will filter it out, I think. Not YouTube, rather.
You know what Instagram does? They are prioritizing videos. My videos got a lot of views. The little video shorts I did, because I did them deliberately. The little video ones I did, they got views. They got a lot of views compared to everyone else. But the photos, and I'm sorry, but I joined Instagram because it was primarily a photo sharing app.
Yeah, Instagram tried to be TikTok, and it's now getting annoying.
Yeah. Well, no, they've literally come out and said that they're not a photo sharing app anymore. They're a video. Yeah, that's why a lot of creators are starting to get, well, particularly small business people in the knitting community, are starting to get very, very annoyed and starting to want to say, well, I don't want to rely on social media anymore. You know, if you want to catch up with me, come to my YouTube channel or come to my website and look at my blog. So the big mass exodus from the socials, because everyone's just so sick. Look, to be honest, Facebook is the same problem for me. Is I just want to see all the people I follow in sequential order of when they posted. I don't want a curated timeline. I want to see the people I chose to follow, not 2 pictures, an ad, 2 more pictures, an ad, and another picture. Because that's what I'm getting in my feed at the moment. It's so frustrating.
Yeah.
Anyway, right. Darker Shade of Magic.
Darker Shade of Magic. Where did we get up to? Oh, I didn't even finish what I was saying about Kel at the beginning. So we covered a lot about Kel, but one of the things, do I need to unpick that far? One of the things that we didn't really touch on is that it's his habit of smuggling things that eventually gets him into trouble and kicks off the plot, because someone gives him something to take back to Grey London from White London, and he gets back to Red London with the thing, because you have to go through, well, they're in order and you have to go through one to get to the other. So it goes Grey London, Red London, White London, Black London, and you can't go from grey to black without going through red and then white. Someone gives him something to deliver to a family member, supposedly, in Grey London.
No, it's Red London. It's in Red London.
Oh, is it in Red London? Anyway, in Red London. Yeah. And he gets back and realizes it was a setup, and he doesn't know what this thing is that he has, but he realizes.
The interesting thing for me is, one, he decides to stop because his brother says, please stop, don't do this, which makes you think his brother knew something was about to happen. He wanted him to stop anyway, but he's a lot more insistent that time round. And secondly, so he's decided to stop, but what they ask him to smuggle is a letter, which is technically not illegal. So he's not even doing the wrong thing by taking a letter, but it's not the letter that's the problem, it's the payment she gives him.
Which turns out to be a black magic artifact. Or like
piece of rock from Black
Black
London.
London magic artifact, really.
Yeah.
Anyway, that kicks off the plot, and this is like some dark magic that is spreading, and he's trying to contain it and get rid of it. And then you've got the people from White London use this time to attack Red London and try and take it over.
Well, it's all their spoiler alert, it's all their plan in the first place. They wanted it. They wanted it in Red London to begin with. They wanted it there for some reason. I think they wanted it there because they knew what it could do.
It basically takes over people and destroys them.
I do love the Grey London solution, though. The Grey London solution to the guy that gets infected is there's not enough magic in Grey London, so he just disintegrates into ash and it doesn't go anywhere. It's just done. It's gone. I think even the sword got disintegrated.
No, the sword comes back, doesn't it?
Oh, because he had the sword and he was walking back towards the inn, and then next thing you know, some cart horse, some guy on a cart goes, "Oh my God, I've run over someone," and they look underneath and there's just ash.
Yeah.
There's nothing. So unless he'd thrown the sword away, I don't remember that bit.
I don't remember because I didn't get up to that bit today, but I have a feeling the sword stays around for a bit.
Oh, okay. Well, it would have disintegrated anyway when the Atari was broken. It should have anyway. Unless it's got something to do with her magic, which she hasn't fully awoken yet. Let's talk about Delilah Bard.
Yes.
And how refreshing it is to have a heroine that is not only savvy, looks after herself, but the minute she meets the guy that is clearly a potential love interest, doesn't turn into an idiot.
No, in fact, she actually...
She's the protagonist. She's the hero.
She's the hero, but she's also in he's more of the love interest turning into an idiot than she is. Which is kind of funny.
Yeah. But not even that though. Neither of them do stupid things to protect the other. I mean, even at one point, towards the end, where there's the potential that she'll get stuck in White London, he even thinks to himself, well, it's Layla, she'll be fine. She'll figure it out, because he trusts her abilities. He's not looking at, to coin a phrase, like the Hunger Games, they're not looking at this strong person who's created a revolution or has been used as a figurehead for the revolution and thinking, oh, we have to protect her because she kind of can look after herself. She chose that life. In fact, she could probably look after herself better than Cal, because let's face it, Cal doesn't like to kill people. She enjoys it, which means she's more inclined to do it.
Yeah. Delilah Bard, badass pirate woman.
Pirate wannabe.
She gets there eventually.
She gets there. Oh yeah, you can tell she's going to get there. But it's just, in the first book, she's not a pirate yet.
Not yet. She's on her way.
Oh, particularly
becoming a pirate. I really fucked this up.
Oh dear.
I think I can still fix it without unpicking everything. So,
but I do like the fact that, and this is the one thing I do appreciate, because I think I've done the same thing. Is I'm pretty sure V.E. Schwab, Victoria, had an inventory of exactly how many weapons Leela had on her person at any given time, because damn, that girl's got a few.
Yeah, she is like the that scene in At World's End, Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End.
Okay, that scene was done with Elizabeth. That scene was done over the top. So that scene was done deliberately over the top. It actually reminded me of a lot of older sort of campy films, a bit like the Cheech and Chong's one. Oh, what's the one that Cheech and Chong are in? Yellowbeard. The pirate movie Yellowbeard, where it was very camp. It was done deliberately because I mean, where the hell is Elizabeth going to hide that sawn off shotgun? Seriously.
Yeah, but it's like the realistic version of that is the amount of
which is what I like. Yeah,
Delilah Bard has.
And like my main character in my novel, I've done that. I've actually got a running list of what she has in her inventory because she's got a lot of like canisters and containers about her person that have multiple weapons and bits and bobs. So at any given time, if she's in a situation and needs maybe a air breather, oh look, she actually had one sitting in her container. It's not just it's out of it's not the MacGuffin that turns up out of nowhere to save her life. It's actually been planned to be in there from day one, sort of thing.
I need to do that with one of my characters with certain things, but maybe not everything. It's really funny actually. If I reread part of my original NaNoWriMo draft where I was drafting completely out of order, and there's one scene where she just pulls out bolt cutters. And I'm rereading it, being like, I know I wrote this, definitely being like, I will go back and put these in earlier later when I edit this. But without the edit, it's just like, where the fuck did they come from?
Yeah.
Oh, I cracked up so much. Just randomly.
But it's like now that I've figured out the design for the daggers, as previously discussed offline, there's so many more uses for them.
Right? You'd be adding them in to everything.
Oh god, yes. But
someone needs to cut cheese with them at some point, though.
Oh god,
that's what I want to see.
That would make a mess of the cheese.
Yeah.
But look, but it's also things like she's got finger-sized grenades, like little burst grenades on her.
Wait, I've got those
on her belts. Yeah, but the whole point is that they're there. She's got about 5 from like day one. So how many does she use? Like, it's not a John Wayne film. She does eventually run out of these things, guys. Do have to keep count. But you got to assume also, I don't show it, but you assume also that she restocks once she gets back to a ship. Hello, restocking. But but it is, it's just refreshing to see a character who is a badass. Like, she is a badass. She's had to survive a really horrible situation. She's had to be her, she's had to figure out how to survive her way. And the minute she meets up with the love interest, so to speak, or she is the love interest, depending on which way you look at it, she doesn't suddenly lose all and any ability and suddenly wants to run around wearing skirts.
Wait till book 2.
I'm just going back to. I'm actually thinking about pirate women and the return to normal. There ain't no return to normal here.
You have to start book 2. I really want to tell you the opening scene because it throws you right in there, and you're like, what the fuck happened? And then it has the best twist setup. It's so good. You need to read it. Definitely.
When I have an Audible credit.
In the mood for actual pirates at the moment, because they do actually. She's on the ship.
Oh yeah. So she did get her little ship.
She's on ship, so I'll just say that.
Okay.
Whether or not it's hers, Anyway,
is debatable.
V.E. Schwab does the most amazing opening scene to a book 2. I really want to read it again now.
Well,
so
we do
good.
need a book. We do need a book for January
Here we go.
because we've got the little what was it, Spindle, the comic,
Oh yeah, Sleeper and the Spindle,
Sleeper and the Spindle,
which is another
because
one
we
I've
wanted
already
something
read.
easy over Christmas,
Yes.
and we couldn't think of a Christmas book, which wasn't the Hogfather. And but we could certainly do that for January, because you're also going to be very busy. We're both going to be extremely busy in January, so it might be worth doing something that you've read before.
Yes.
So.
Oh, wrong stitch. Or is it? No, I think that's right, actually. Oh. Wait, no. Yes, that's the wrong stitch. Oh, why did I have to do something so complicated with a stupid pattern?
You'll get there. So we might just do final thoughts, and then we can just do some random chatting whilst we sit and knit.
Yes.
So I would recommend this book. I will go back and read it, like properly read it, not just listen to it at 1.5 times speed on Audible whilst dealing with screaming children. Maybe not at the moment because I'm not in a fantasy mood, but in saying that, I'm not in a fantasy mood and I still highly enjoyed this book.
Yes. I love this book so much I actually bought it in physical.
Yeah,
and I think
I'll buy this series in physical, to be honest. This is one of the books that I think will end up. This is one of the books. The way I'm sort of looking at my physical bookshelf is this is the book I want my son to sneak into his room with a torch and read under the covers.
Yeah.
And I want him to do that thinking that he's being naughty and sneaky when I really actually just want him to read these books.
Yeah.
A bit like all the Terry Pratchetts. He is obsessed with my hardcover Terry Pratchetts. He keeps stealing them.
Oh dear.
He's only 2.5. He doesn't even. He's lucky if he recognizes letters, let alone words. But he keeps stealing them because he just loves the covers. So.
I thought there was a ball attached to this. Apparently not. Well, that makes detangling it from the white a lot easier. I got it twisted up while I was re-knitting that little thread without re-knitting the entire row.
So yeah, no, I definitely want to finish the series. I'm kind of hoping this will kickstart my fantasy back again, and I can finally get back to Brandon Sanderson, and I can finally get back to Wheel of Time, and I can finally get back to what else haven't I finished reading? Game of Thrones. My sort of Shannara series. Yes, I am saying all the books that are this thick.
All right, now it's the same as
so many fantasy book series that I haven't finished reading.
I'm now back to knitting the row that I just had to unpick.
No, that's good. That's good. So, do you have any final thoughts on Darker Shade other than go read it, everybody?
I always struggle trying to, when people say, like, what are your favorite books? And then since we've started this book club, I've read, I mean, these ones weren't on the book club until this month. Yeah. But since, like, I actually started reading a lot more since I started audiobooks. I actually have probably a handful of maybe 6 or 7 books off the top of my head that I could say are top favorites. And these 3 are one of, like, top favorite series. So this is one of my favorite series. This is How We Lose the Time War.
Yes.
Or This Is How You Lose the Time War is one of my favorite books. Going Postal, another one of my favorites. Good Omens has
Season
one
2
of
is
the
coming.
best written drunk people scenes I have ever read in my entire life.
And then they have pretty much replicated it for the TV series.
Oh, it is perfectly done in the TV show. Like, almost word for word. In fact,
I just love that I need to sober up. Oh, I love that bit.
Oh, it's so good.
I'm so looking forward to season 2.
And
I really
the
am.
Mistborn series, I know you didn't finish the first one, but I finished the entire trilogy.
But I didn't finish it
have read
because
the
of this
first one.
issue I have with fantasy at the moment. And it's not
Yeah,
because I didn't.
well, exactly.
It's the same with what I read. I enjoyed. I just wasn't in a mood. I was in a right mood at the time. I think I was still pregnant at the time when we read it.
Potentially, yeah. I actually reading Mistborn. I've read quite a bit of fantasy, but what I associate with the fantasy genre is stuff like Lord of the Rings, which I have read as well. So I think maybe epic fantasy.
Yes.
Reading Mistborn
Completely changes
was refreshing because I was like, okay, this is something that is breaking that stereotype of what epic fantasy can be, and it is a really unique. He does really unique magic systems and worlds. But the other thing was just it's a really entertaining read in terms of characters and ensemble casts and heists and all of that sort of stuff. And it's a great example of genre mashup in the way that people don't think of genre mashup. It's the genre mashup that writers do that is invisible. So it's not like fantasy meets science fiction like the 5th season. It is a heist novel in disguise as an epic fantasy, which gives you all of that world building joy and like the great sort of aesthetic while having a really fun plot line that
sorry, I
isn't
need a
a
chocolate.
hero's journey.
The urge was
I'm
too
sure
strong.
everyone could apply a hero's journey to it, but it's not your stereotypical farm boy. I'm an awesome farm boy. Oh, look, maybe I'm actually good at something.
Look, and
being an awesome farm boy isn't so bad after all.
The chosen one trope. The chosen one.
Yes.
I mean,
It is
even
an
when
epic
you think
fantasy
about
without the chosen one.
Even when you think about it, Lord of the Rings is the chosen one.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of them are. I mean, it is, in a way, a chosen-ish one, but it's not like a chosen one like this person is destined to be. It's that these larger forces person picked this child specifically because of the power situation that they were born with in a world where people are born with magical powers like allomancy. They picked a specific setup so that they could have this kid manipulated in a way to fulfill their own ends. And then she ended up becoming a sort of heroic character and figured that out way later. Anyway.
But that's also what chosen ones are. Even in the
way,
original.
Yeah. But there's no prophecy. Yeah. Or there is like a prophecy, but she never really thinks that it sort of shows the fallacy with the prophecies. It's like she's debating whether or not it applies to her and then whether it applies to someone else and whether or not it's actually true
that's
or
classic
not.
chosen one trope. But also true though, that's the whole problem with the chosen one. Is the chosen one really the chosen one, or is the chosen one just because someone decided they were the chosen one?
Exactly. Which it does it really well. It does chosen one without being annoying. And then it sets up the world for like a really entertaining steampunk era. Which is just, I really need to start on the second book in that.
Yeah. See, I got to really get off my ass and write my Egyptian steampunk.
Oh, yes, you do.
Inspired by The Mummy.
Yeah. Em will be all over that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's been an idea that's been sitting in my ideas folder for about, 30 years.
Have you seen her? Have you seen her video from today?
Not yet.
She listed off all of the different writing projects that she wants to do. And I'm like, holy fuck, that's a long list. I thought it was going to stop at like 5. She had like 23.
Yeah, it's about
time. I kind of want to write down and see how many I've got because I know there's more than I remember.
I've got one set of names. I've got ones that sort of run in series, so I know there's going to be a series here and a series there.
Yeah.
And then I've got ideas. And there's
I reckon she should turn it into a tag. Or like some sort of challenge. Like how many writing projects ideas do you have? And then when
I've got one be like literally, let me bring it up. I got a Trello board, and I'll literally, because these are just literally ideas.
Yeah.
They're themes. People can take them and use with them as they will,
Yeah.
Everyone will write something different. But, by the way, have you noticed something about my stream tonight? Video looks good. Audio's good.
There's no robot chipmunk.
Yeah, you know why? 1, hubby is not
My
home.
husband.
2, we finally got the laptop wired in.
Yes.
I'm not on Wi-Fi anymore.
Nice. We aren't on Wi-Fi anymore, boys.
Wi-Fi works fine unless the computers on the wired system are working.
Yeah.
Come on.
All right, final thoughts. Yes. So it is now joining. In fact, I think I love this series more than the Mistborn series because it's like it's written by another queer author and it has like representation from the beginning of a lot of different, like diverse characters, which Mistborn gets there towards the end. But it has that fallacy of being written 15, 20 years ago.
I am straight, white, female. She has written the way I want to write my stories. Yes, there are people who go both ways. Yes, there are people who are inclined to same sex. Or there's people that don't even consider themselves a sex. But it is just literally, he nicked off with that guy because they were digging each other. Okay, off they go. It's not a big deal.
It's not just big deal. TM.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I'm doing with my sci-fi. The historical fantasy I'm writing, it kind of has to be like a big deal.
Yeah.
But it's not a big deal to the pirates. And it's a big deal to the characters when they're stuck in the colonial setting. But once they get out of that, it's not a big deal. And it's a big deal in terms of characters' misunderstandings and stuff like that. But it's not because
I don't even know what... Sorry, I'm just looking at my board, and I don't even know what half of these ideas are. So, for instance, I have literally written here Egyptian steampunk.
Yeah.
Truth melts the illusion. Have no idea what that means. Modern Last Unicorn. War Wagon in Space. Laser, which is like sci-fi. The New Fae. So like a science fiction with Fae in it.
Yeah.
And a science fiction with a subclass of humans that are considered robots, but they're actually humans.
Nice.
Like that's literally the ideas I have. Like,
oh my god, we summoned the rant queen. We were just talking about your video.
We've actually finished talking.
Now I want to write down all my ideas and see how many there are.
We've actually, and we've stopped talk. We've just finished up talking about Darker Shade of Magic. But yes, go read it. And
I think she already was reading it.
Because Miss Sci-Fi Maniac at the moment, enjoyed it.
Yeah. And it doesn't have the whiny protagonist problem.
Oh, thank fuck.
Which I told you. I was like, you guys are going to enjoy this one more because the one issue you have of her being a whiny protagonist who got herself into situations or whatever, which is totally true for Addie in a lot of ways. That's not in this book. That's not this
And I know that's the point.
Yeah.
I know that's the point. Addie has to learn to take responsibility for what she did. But seriously, if it's going to take you 300 fucking years to get around to it, you got a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, pick it up again. Pick it up again.
Please,
pick it up again.
Pick it up again because
you need to.
We are actually starting to. I reckon we're going to block it in. We're going to read number 2 in January. So you are always welcome to join us for chats.
Yes. Number 2 is very piratey, like a lot more piratey than number 1 is. So if you wanna get some piratey inspo without it being like super similar to what you're writing in, definitely read number 1 and then read number 2. I think now that I'm thinking about it, number 2 is probably my favorite, even though there was a lot of characters doing stuff and I'm like, no, don't do that. That's a bad idea. And then they do it and it goes terribly wrong, but it's so entertaining.
But the key question is do they do it wrong because of their character or they do it wrong to serve the plot?
No, they do it wrong they're like me. They're like, I know I shouldn't, this is a bad idea, but I really want to, so I'm going to, even if it goes terribly wrong.
So they're doing it because of their character. Because that was actually one of my things, that's one of the things that I really liked about this book was even when the characters make not necessarily stupid decisions, but make unwise decisions.
Yeah.
They're in character.
I just really want to do book 2 now so that I can talk about the opening chapter.
Okay, well, we'll do that
now
for
that
January.
Now that I've remembered it, it's so fucking good. Particularly after reading book 1, you start chapter 1 of book 2 and you're just like, what the fuck happened? And then stuff starts happening and you're just like, and it just gets better and better and better. Anyway, that's my reaction anyway. This book is great. Also, V. Schwab said recently while talking about Threads of Power, in response to, I think, a fan question about something else or a fan statement about something else. I can't remember what the context was around what it was, but she was like, you know, I never made Lila straight, right?
Yeah.
Like, I never
specifically said which way she went. Yeah.
Or that she goes one way and not multiple. Because, yeah, she's interested in Kel. But she's not interested in many people.
Oh, that is also what I really, really loved. Sorry, Em, I'll try not to spoil. But I really loved how if that's going to happen, it is such a slow burn. It's not insta-love. As much as insta-love serves its purpose in certain books.
No, it's a respect-based.
It's a respect-based situation. And I was just like, yes.
Yeah. It's respect-based. And I am not going to say whether it happens or not.
Honestly,
all I'm going to say is like,
because they respect each other. If all they do is end up really good friends that trust each other, that satisfies me.
It's still a mess.
If I want descriptions of people getting their jollies in bed, I'll go read an erotica. I've got plenty of them. I mean, you don't necessarily need that to happen for it to be a good book.
Yeah. 100%. All right, that's free. I think I'm going to spend the rest of this untangling these balls.
Well, what we'll do is we've pretty much chatted about Darker Shade of Magic to its, I won't say its death, but to the end. because it actually is a really good book, and I'd highly recommend anyone who has any interest in fantasy to give it a go. It won't be for everyone. Normally, urban fantasy is not for me, but I just think it was done in such a good way; it was worth it. But is there
there
anything
was a
else we
ball at
want
the
to have a
end.
quick?
Snap.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe we
That's
can
fun.
chat about. Have you watched anything recently, Charlotte?
I may have. I may have.
We're not allowed to talk Hawkeye because spoilers.
Okay, Hawkeye is excellent. All I'm going to say is I am so happy with how they're doing it so far. And the trailer, my impressions from the trailer was this looks like they've taken MCU Hawkeye and finally given him so much of the comic Hawkeye vibes,
which is what I see too.
Misses out on in the MCU films.
Yeah. Well, let's face it, Hawkeye in the films gets a little bit overshadowed by the fact that he is human. And everyone else is
he
like
gets
super
a few funny lines and is badass with a bow in the background, and that's about it.
Yeah.
And he has a great friendship storyline with Nat.
Oh,
apart from that, you don't really get much Hawkeye centric stuff. Comics, he's brilliant. TV show Hawkeye is finally getting comic level canon that is in the comics, and I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Anyway, so I've watched that. I think. Wait, was there a new episode out today? I'm gonna have to check that because it says new episodes Fridays, or maybe that was something else that said new episode Fridays.
No, I'm pretty sure Hawkeye's new, and the new Wheel of Time should be out too.
Well, I'm not sleeping tonight.
Well, I kind of assumed you'd be late to the stream because you're watching it.
Oh, I forgot. I was playing Assassin's Creed. I started a new Assassin's Creed, and then I was watching Minecraft videos, and then I was watching M's video. I was just watching YouTube, and then
I'm gonna watch a fair bit of YouTube when I go to bed. Before bed, I'm gonna sit down and watch a bit of YouTube.
Hawkeye is very good.
Okay, there's been about 3 notifications on my phone since we started this stream, and every one of them has been one of my favorite podcasters putting up a new video. So I'm not getting any sleep tonight.
Yeah.
But Wheel of Time.
Have you watched it yet?
I've watched all 3. I have to rewatch them.
2 shots of that show opening, we both had the same reaction, which is, man, I fucking want that coat.
I want the whole outfit.
I fucking want everything she's wearing.
I want the whole outfit. I just want the whole outfit. I think it's amazing.
If I ever get the time and the patience, I'm going to try and make.
Let's deconstruct this a little bit because it's been a long time since I've read the book, so I'm not entirely certain if I remember the book, whether or not she was wearing pants or a skirt. I don't really remember. But okay, she is a very powerful woman in a woman-centric club,
magic club,
and is a magic user. And she's wearing pants.
Yep.
Oh, I'm so glad they went with that choice. I am so glad they went with that choice because it technically is a futuristic Earth. So let's just do away with the bullshit medieval women wore skirts in medieval times.
It's a medieval aesthetic, but it's not a medieval world.
It's a dystopia. It is a dystopia. It's just a dystopia so far in the future. It's like, what's her names? The Broken Earth trilogy.
Yeah.
It's like the sort of Shannara series. It's just so far in the future that you think it's fantasy. It's like Anne McCaffrey's Dragonflight series, which are very problematic, by the way, if you go back and reread them now. But her first books, Dragonflight, White Dragon is the third one. I can't think of the third one, the middle one. But they read like fantasies because they were so far in the future, people had forgotten their technology.
Yeah.
And but oh my God. But see, the thing is with Anne McCaffrey, she went back medieval. So she did the women are breeders and don't have any say, and the men have all the power, and she did all that sort of stuff. Where Wheel of Time is pretty much the opposite, where men broke the world. They broke
And so
the world.
they don't get a say in it anymore.
So they don't get a say in a lot of shit. But
it's very entertaining watching that, to be honest.
Can we discuss episode 2 and 3 opening? The way they've done the weave. Oh, the way they did the weave of time. In just the opening, like literally the credits. You know, the way that it all, the threads just, it's like, I'm sorry, Game of Thrones, with your little models going pop, 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 pop. Eat your heart out, honey. Eat your heart out. Eat your heart out. Oh.
Wheel of Time is like, actually, I don't want to compare it to Game of Thrones because Game of Thrones.
The whole reason Wheel of Time is being done is because of Game of Thrones. Let's be honest here, and I think that is a good thing.
But it's like Game of Thrones, but they didn't fuck it up.
Wheel of Time is finished.
Yeah, and they haven't fucked it up.
Well, it's actually interesting because someone was it Daniel Green was talking about it, and he said he read an interview with, I think it was the producer, and they were talking about like things that they decided to change when they were in discussion with Brandon Sanderson about certain things.
Yeah.
And Daniel Green's going, that sounds fine to me. I mean, you can't translate everything word for word from the page to the TV. I mean, it's impossible.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
So, yes.
But you don't want to be making like Percy Jackson level changes where they remove things that are key to the plot in the next books, and then they realize they completely fucked up the sequels because they removed a bunch of plot from the first one.
Yeah, well, that's because someone didn't actually read the books before they started.
Yeah.
But shit.
Cowboy Bebop is out as well. I've started watching Cowboy Bebop, the animated anime.
Yes.
I haven't started the live action.
I haven't yet. I want to re-watch the anime because it's been so long. And I think I'm up to like episode 4.
Yeah, I'm up to about there as well.
Yeah, I'm up to when they take the woman. They take the leader of the eco-terrorists.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've seen that episode.
Yeah, I'm about halfway through that one. I had to stop it because it's not exactly child safe.
Yeah, no, it is really not.
What else?
He's just going to get tangled again next month when I pull him out.
Yeah. The only other show that I need to see and haven't is Foundation.
I haven't actually heard of that one.
It's Isaac Asimov's Foundation series.
Ah.
You know, the series they said was adaptable. It would never be adapted because it was just too big and it was just too difficult.
And they adapted it anyway?
And they're doing it. Someone has actually decided to do it.
I'm looking forward to all of the Neil Gaiman Amazon series that are coming out in the next couple of years. There's like 3. They're doing. I just
want American Gods to make sense.
Yeah, I haven't bothered watching that, to be honest. I started reading the book and didn't really enjoy it.
No, it doesn't jive with me. I got to about episode 3, which would be corresponding to about chapter maybe 5 or 6 in the book, and at both points is where I stopped. So I'm just like, I
got a couple of chapters into the book, but I just kind of got bored. I have separate balls and they're not tangled. Yay.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I'm the same. I don't have time. I made time for the Wheel of Time because I loved the book, the first book. I always petered out at book 5. I tried to read it a few times. But book 5 is very much a filler, and I just kept stopping and not picking it back up again. Yeah, I haven't watched Squid Game either. To be honest, I know everyone's ranting and raving about it, but I really don't have an interest in it. I know what it's about now. And I'm just like, well, I know what it's about and I know how it ends and I know why it ends the way it ended because I watched I'm gonna butcher her name. She's just released the Iron Maiden, the YA Chinese fantasy. Shang Oh no. I can't I'm not gonna say it because I'll butcher it. But she's got a YouTube channel and she does really interesting breakdowns on Chinese history and she's just done one about I haven't watched it yet. She's done one about Shang-Chi and the 10 rings and the Chinese representation in it of mythology. And I'm really looking forward to watching that one. I can't think of her name. Yeah. The anime suffers from animes of its time where they had one episode that got the plot going and then they'd have 3 episodes of just random shit and then they'd have another episode that got the plot moving forward and then they'd have another 3 episodes of random shit.
Yeah. I think I need to just dive in and watch the live action. And then
I saw Martian Successor Nadesco. That just meant there was just nothing. There was no plot in that story. You have to watch the movie. They have to watch the movie they made like 10 years later to make the TV series make sense. Anyway.
That's not a good sign.
Oh, it's fun though. It's a fun romp, but it's one of those ones where, there's obviously the one guy that all the girls fall in love with and they're all chasing him around and it's like, seriously, he's not even that good. He's a whingy whiny little shit.
Now, give me the one girl that all the girls fall in love with and everyone's chasing around. That would be a fun twist.
No, I think we're talking about different people. She's got her channel art is her in cosplay in like 4 different cosplay outfits.
I don't know. I missed what you were talking about.
I think Em's talking about the Chinese author. The Iron Maiden is. I'm pretty sure Iron Maiden is the book, and it's like a modern. It's like a sci-fi retelling of the only Empress of China.
Let me see.
I just need to put the anime on. Yeah. Yes. It's the anime very much suffers from the old cinematic art. At times it really does.
When I put Iron Maiden book in, all that's coming up is the band.
With Eddie. Let me bring it up.
Iron Widow?
That might be it. I said Iron Maiden, but yeah, it might be Iron Widow.
Zira and Jay Zhao?
Yeah, that's it.
Shao?
Yeah.
Oh, that looks good. That cover is very nice.
It's a very nice cover.
Canadian science fiction novel.
It's YA though, so that's sort of one of the reasons why I haven't really jumped on buying it to read it. I know, I'm trying to...
Oh, science fantasy.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, there's a new Meanwhile in Australia too.
Oh, wait, there is a picture of, I think it's the author in a cow onesie next to the cover of the book. So maybe it is the one that Emma's talking about.
Oh, it might be the same one.
Darker shades. It's
actually described as an adult. Really. It's actually marketed as an adult.
I had this as well, in that I was like, is this more YA? Because the story, I think, feels sort of adventurous in a way that would have appealed to me as a teenager. And I think this is what trips me up, is I was like, this is like YA, but really well written. Oh, it might be placed in YA in Australian bookshelves because that's bullshit. But
because we're
because it's,
idiots.
if
That's
you
it there.
know if it's under the V.E. Schwab,
Yeah.
yeah, it is the same profile picture, and you're looking at the banner.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at the banner. Yeah.
If it's written under V.E. Schwab and not Victoria Schwab, then it's her adult science fiction and fantasy. If it's Victoria Schwab, it's middle grade and YA.
But isn't that getting confused now because the authors decided, because the publishing house has decided to change everything to V.E. Schwab now to make it more succinct?
Did they?
I think they are. I think they are changing everything now.
I'm not sure.
I think I remember her saying something on Instagram stories. But
I haven't heard that. But
when I read the description, on Wikipedia, it is marketed as an adult fantasy.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it everywhere. As adult.
Look, to be honest, if you want to get hit semantics, you could probably be considered new adult.
Yes, that is
more
what
than
it would
YA.
fall into if that was a relevant sort of category that was being used. The thing that I think makes it, I wouldn't classify it as YA for multiple reasons, and this is what I think is the distinguisher for me, is A, it's not really a coming of age story.
No.
B, the narrative voice is not at all what I would consider like what I associate with YA books. And thirdly is content, because I think for me, being like 25 and sort of used to reading Altered Carbon and shit like that, I was like, oh yeah, this is kind of like, it's not that much mature content or whatever. And then I was skipping back through and I'm like, oh yeah, Athos is torturing someone.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
Well, see, the thing is though, is YA the problem is YA is now not being written for teenagers. YA has been written for a very specific set of female readers, and they're all starting to be in their late 20s, early 30s. So there is a lot of themes now in YA that are not YA. There's sex, there's violence,
and I think that's why it gets associated with it.
Yes, and I think that's the problem, and that's the problem I have, because when I was growing up, there was no such thing as YA. There was just fiction. So you hit 12 years old and you're on your own, honey. You know, there's no kids' books or anything. It was just, here's your sci-fi and fantasy section. Go hellbent for leather, pick a book. And I think the problem is now is that, and this is modern day publishers, and let's face it, these are publishers that literally have written on their websites, we do not accept unsolicited science fiction or fantasy, because they don't believe it sells. When there is clearly a market, because if you put it under the tag YA, you can get your manuscript through.
Yeah. The thing that I think makes it adult more than anything is the language.
Yeah. Also too, though, it's not, and I think this is what I was saying earlier, was these guys have chosen their lives. They don't have absent parents. They're not being thrust into it because of birthright or whatever. Yes, things happen to them that made them what they are, but they've accepted that and they've made their own choices since. And I think a lot of YA is very much the chosen one trope. It's just disguised as something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This isn't a chosen one trope at all.
I'm a big one for that, Em. I've been saying that for years. I would very happily walk into a shop and have a black for R rating, just have it on the, I'm more than happy to have it on my books.
I would classify this, if we were going by movie ratings, I would give this an MA, not an R.
I would give it an MA because of the very obvious violence, torture scenes in it. And but look, to be honest though, you don't have to have in your face violence to be an adult fiction.
No.
And I think that trips a lot of people up because they think, oh, I mean, look at our favorite SJM. I mean, she's gotten pretty graphic at times, and she's still considered YA. When I've picked up adult books that imply, they don't necessarily say someone is being tortured, but you know very well that person is being tortured because of the words that are used to describe the situation.
Yeah. And also, you look at Stardust, which is an adult novel appropriate for children.
Yeah. Oh, it's very much an adult novel.
Yeah. I think this is a adult novel appropriate for teen audiences, but I don't think it's a YA book. I think it's very much an adult book. And I would recommend teenagers, like later teenagers, read it because it's not super graphic. Like, there's violence and a lot of torture and stuff in it, but it's not like Game of Thrones level graphic.
Well, see, that's the thing.
The narrative frames it really well.
Well, I guess that's the thing. And maybe hang on, I just thought of this. Maybe that's the difference, because an adult novel doesn't need to spell it out for it to be graphic, because an adult will think that way with a few lines, when a lot of YA novels are literally, she shoved the hand into here and ripped this out and did this, because they are describing it because they have to describe it. I don't know. That makes sense to me. I don't know.
There is a chapter. Let me find it.
Yep. Yes. Yeah, because it's a fantasy. And well, hey, The Witcher was in the YA section the other day. Seriously, The Witcher. And Raymond D. Feast, who very clearly does not write YA, but they're both fantasy books.
Trying to find that chapter with Athos.
Oh,
because it's very clear what is happening. I actually listened to that today.
When Holland goes to him.
Potentially, yeah. I think that might have been where I was up to. This is also, it's flipped back to that chapter again, but I just noticed the first line of the chapter is, when Kel came to, he was tied to a bed. I love it.
Oh, Daniel Green did a V.E. Schwab interview 24 hours ago.
What?
Put that on my watch later list.
Yeah.
So I was just clearing out my new notifications whilst I was on YouTube. Yeah. Oh, look, it's. I just think, to be honest, I think YA just muddies the water. I reckon they should just call it all fiction, and have the rating system. So say this is potentially appropriate for someone that can handle violence. This one is potentially appropriate for someone that can handle sexual violence, which is pretty much the difference between an MA and an R. And leave it at that. Because, I mean, there's movies that I watched when I was 5 and 6 years old that really were not appropriate, but I was old enough to understand it was fiction.
I found the Athos scene.
Yeah.
So this is like the start of a new chapter. And I think you're right about it. The difference between the way YA writes violence, graphic violence, and the way adult writes it.
I think so. I only just hit that then because it's been so long since I've actually read a decent adult book. And I read this one and went, she's putting it there and not it's not a blow by blow.
All right, block your ears if you don't want to hear it, but I'm just going to read the first paragraph. It's not really
This is like chapter 14, it's chapter 4 or something. It's not a spoiler.
It's chapter 3 of part 3, I think. It's only like 90 pages.
There's a lot of parts. There's
you
a
might
lot
have
of
already read
parts.
it.
Yeah.
And I'm only going to read the first paragraph. It's like 2 sentences because it perfectly demonstrates this difference. It's like, the whip cracked through the air, the forked end splitting open the skin of the boy's back. He did not scream. Athos wished he would, but a gasp of pain whistled through his clenched teeth.
Yeah. There's no, the blood dripped slowly down the side of his back, and the
What gives you so much character within just that paragraph is just the aside, Athos wished he would.
he would. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, so it's not really spoilers. You just get a
It's
character
just setting up the
introduction.
character of Athos because he is a dick.
He's a dick. But yeah.
Yeah. But I think that is very much a big difference, and it's quite interesting that the more graphic novel is considered for a younger audience.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting as well.
I guess the reason is adult novels tend to be more worried about overall theme.
Something I love about this book,
Mm.
that I am now sort of bringing into my own series that I hadn't really worked out how to do, is the different point of view structures, in that you get points of view from Athos and Astrid and Holland and people like that.
Yeah.
And other people throughout the series who are like twisted people. And I was having like a not well fleshed out enough villain problem with Project Space. And then I was like, you know what? I can add in that person's point of view and get across so much more of this scene than I could if I stuck in the point of view that it's in at the moment. Because the point of view that it's in the moment, like what that it was in at the time, really was just like, oh no, I'm being tortured. What do they want?
Yeah.
Whereas you can switch into that twisted point of view. And I'm also like have the problem of, I feel like I make my characters too nice a lot of the time, when I really am working on trying to make them a little bit less nice, a little bit more sort of like hard line, and a bit more.
We see that's the problem I have, and I think we've had this discussion
Gray.
before, where some of my characters are so casual about killing, they don't think twice about it. So you can't have the big agonizing discussion about how they murdered 15 people just to get to this point. It's like, well, they were in my way, so fuck them. So what do you do? It's like I'm in the middle of writing the scene where, one person goes, situation like, you've done this much damage to the space station, and they're just like, your point?
You have a point, sir?
You have a point to this? There was a point. They were in my way. I had to be somewhere. Yeah. So I don't know. Yes. I think I might. Well, we are 2.25 hours in. I think we're going to have to call it soon, because I got a feeling I'm going to be out of StreamYard hours for Sunday.
Oh yeah.
Yes. I keep getting those emails.
Well, there's not a third episode of Hawkeye yet, so that's just
Totally agree with that, Em. But the problem is they don't actually have any guilt in regards to it, my characters. So, like, the big sort of, running down a hallway and shooting a pile of people that are following you or in your way means nothing to them. So they're not going to think about it later, because they've been trained to the point to be that way. They're being desensitized. So how do you show extreme amounts of carnage when they're so desensitized they're not seeing it.
I have notes on some of my characters where I was interested in playing with the idea of they're not horrified by the act itself, but then later they're looking at it and they're mildly horrified by how non-horrified they are by it. They're just like, wow, what the fuck is wrong with me? But they're still just like,
yeah. So when I have the opposite, it's like I'm a product of what I'm a product of what they made me. You know, they train me to be this way, and then they get all shocked and scared when I use it on them. I mean,
like, really? You didn't expect this?
Yeah, it's like, hello.
So, yeah. I mean, I also have done that a little bit to some of my characters. I'm having to filter through and pick and choose which characteristics I'm giving to which characters, because
there's guilt. There is guilt in my, you know, and there is regret and things like that, but it's not about killing people, it's about other things.
Yeah. I think that's the and there's the rub, as they say.
Yeah. Pick your fights, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know what? This sleeve is going on forever.
Oh, you got a big chunk of it done, though.
Yeah. But unfortunately, it's sleeve number 1. I still got to do sleeve number 2.
To be honest, I would have a lot more of this jumper done if I'd picked a simpler pattern. And then
I have to do the body, because I haven't done the body yet. I want to do the sleeves first. So I knew I had enough yarn for the sleeves, so... But, might start calling it a night. Anything you want to plug?
So next month is Sleeper and the Spindle by Neil Gaiman and illustrated by Chris Riddle, who is an excellent cartoonist, I think we call him, artist.
I can't wait to sit down and read it. It looks so beautiful.
I follow the artist on Instagram, and he does the most brilliant, hilarious political sketches. He's based in the UK, so there's a lot of like UK-based political sketches, and
there's a lot of tribbles.
Hilarious, huh?
There's a lot of dead tribbles.
Yeah. Anyway, they've worked quite closely together, I think, on a couple of projects, and I listened to the audiobook version of this when I first read it, so I might try and get my hands on one of the physical copies.
Yeah.
So that
I went for physical because I wanted to look at the pictures. I thought that
so that I have the illustrations.
Yeah.
And
then I think we are gearing up. Oh, pardon me. I think we are gearing up to do book 2 of Darker Shade of Magic for January. We might actually finish a series.
I mean, I've already finished it, so it just makes my life easier.
Well, that's the key. Is that's a month, and come February, we might have to do something I've read before, because February's going to be really hard for me.
Yeah,
I'll be back at work, so
February is my show, and then after that, I'll be busy-ish. February is looking like that's when I'll finish up at work now. End of Feb, and so I'll be moving back to the farm. But yeah.
Well, then we need to pick a decent sized book so you can listen to it in the audio in the car.
On the trips back and forward.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, if I've got anyone else in the car, then I can't listen to it.
I do. The driver gets to listen to whatever they want. That's my rule.
Yeah. Mum and Dad aren't that accommodating. Unfortunately.
What are you talking about? It was my old man that taught me that rule.
Yeah. I have just resigned myself to the fact that if Mum's in the car, I don't get to put my music on unless I'm putting on something like ABBA or Elton John that she will tolerate.
You haven't I was going to say we could do June because the movie's out now.
We already did it.
Have we?
Yeah. We did that a couple of months ago. We did it for June, remember?
Yeah, because that's right, because they delayed the movie and we ended up not having the movie.
We did June in June, but it was actually July.
Yeah, I'm tired.
So
we've got to find something.
Well,
we do have multiple. Sorry?
We've got the list.
Yeah. We've got
multiple
weren't we doing
Emmy's book? Weren't we doing Emmy's book in like February or March?
Well, it depends on if it's ready.
Yeah, Em. Is it ready? Or are you getting sidetracked by all of the other projects? All of the 23 other projects?
No, I think she's getting sidetracked by watching walkthroughs in games, to be honest, on YouTube. Been there, done that.
Yeah, that's me with Minecraft videos at the moment, though, so I can't really judge.
Yeah, me and Final Fantasy.
Right, I've got the thing. So, September we did Guards. October we have done...
That was the pirate one.
Pirate Women, that's right. We didn't do Obelisk Gate.
We haven't done that one yet. Because neither of us could be bothered. Not because we don't want to read it, but neither of us were in the mood.
Yeah, we weren't in the mood to reread the first one.
Yeah, which is what I got to do. I got to reread the first time.
Women and a bottle of rum. So we've done A Darker Shade of Magic. We've got Sleeper and the Spindle coming up.
I find when I'm wasting time, like if I feel like I'm wasting time instead of writing, there's usually a problem with the scene I'm fighting. So maybe skip that scene for a little while and do the next one and see what happens.
Yeah, we've got Ashwood down for April 2022. So we're saying a Gathering of Shadows for January.
Yep.
Let me just pop that in. And we've got on the list still. Let's see.
There's a few things I think we can drop off that list.
Yeah, probably. Let me see. We got to add the Villains series on.
Yes. I really think it would be worth finishing a couple of series next year, like maybe finishing off the Broken Earth, fighting our way through Woken Furies, Richard Morgan, just to finish them off.
Maybe not Woken Furies. Yet.
I actually really am curious to reread it and just see if I have the same reaction to it that I had with Broken Angels.
I'm still kind of pissy over it. We did actually get, I don't know if you've seen, but we've got some rewatch comments underneath it from someone who watched the full discussion and left like some like actually really long thought out thoughts about the book as well. And the discussion. I didn't end up responding to it because it was just a lot of detail.
Yeah.
But they were talking about
similar issues.
No, they were talking about how like, oh, there was a detail at the start of it that made it like this is why it makes sense or whatever. And I think we did actually say a little bit in the thing, like, we know you get that detail, but it's not clear enough at the beginning.
And by the time you get 300 pages in, you've forgotten it.
By the time you get 300 pages in, if it's not obvious enough at the beginning, or you don't realize it enough at the beginning, you're fucking bored.
Yeah. Yay! Go M. Go M. Go M. Go M.
But yeah. All right. So we want to finish off some series.
I think so.
We've also got the Vampires Never Get Old anthology, Tales with Fresh Bite, that V.E. Schwab has that story in. But it's a anthology with a bunch of authors.
Yeah, see, we don't have to do everything that's on that list, and I think there are a few things we could probably delete off, because we're not going to get to them. But
Yeah. Did we want to add Poppy War to the list?
I'm not sure.
I know Em read it recently.
Yeah, I've heard there's a few issues with it. I'm not sure.
There is some quite graphic sections, I believe.
Oh, if it's only graphic sections, we can do that. That's fine. I thought there was more problematic issues with it.
I don't. Not that I've heard of.
Shit.
I think it was just like really, really graphic. From what I know of it, it's an own voices author. So
nice, Em.
I don't know if there would be. I don't know.
And we've still got the Ori of the. Was it the Priory of the
Orange Tree?
Yeah, that's a
Name of the Wind as well.
They're
Wheel
both
of Time. Should we do Wheel of Time in February?
Oh, I'm happy to do book 1 of Wheel of Time.
Wheel of Time.
That could be fun, actually, to do all what 15 of them.
Yeah. Wheel of Time by what's the guy's name? Robert something?
Robert Jordan.
Robert Jordan. That's right. So we've got February Wheel of Time, January Gathering of Shadows, December Sleeper and Spindle, March we can probably decide closer to the point.
Yeah.
I might have finished a readable book by then, but we probably shouldn't do that for book club. We could do author club.
Author club.
The knitting author club. Live stream critiques.
Oh dear.
It's a brilliant idea, but it is not what I want to do.
Trust me, you do not want to do critiques on my shit when it's at first draft stage.
No.
My workshop crew sometimes just looks at me and goes, "We know what you meant to say, but it doesn't say that."
I had that in the funniest way with something I was reading for Danny. I just commented on it. I was like, I'm not sure if you meant for this to be an innuendo, but it is definitely a very big innuendo.
Oh, no, this is not even innuendo. This is just like someone getting up and walking across the room. And it's just like, yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Because first drafts people are messy.
Or it just goes to show that, like, A, they're messy, but also, as the author, you don't notice stuff.
Oh, shit, no.
That you really should notice because it's in your head and it's on the page and you're just like,
the problem is that, and particularly dyslexics have this issue, is you know what you think you wrote. And so, and that's why I've got to give myself time between edits, because I know what I thought I'd written, and until I've actually given myself space and come back like maybe a month later and actually reread it, I don't actually see what I've written.
Random page. Where's a random funny note that I've left myself?
Oh yeah, okay. If you're still on track for an April release, we certainly can put your book in for March, Em.
So the note on this sentence is lol, but maybe not appropriate. And it's just Kara shook her head trying to make her brain kick back into some sort of functional mode it seemed to have forgotten lately. Actually, rereading it now with the current title,
that sounds better.
I might keep that. That was one of the sort of maybe cut that because it's too funny and like in an inappropriate place. But I think I'm gonna roll with the funny in the inappropriate places now, because
I think you need to.
I think I was trying to edit it out to be like serious science fiction, and now I'm just like, you know what? I think one of the hallmarks I want to keep of my like style is the humor. because it's what I enjoy writing, and it's very fun, and I think it's hilarious.
Yes, JJ, what is it? No, I'm not coming to bed. It's not bedtime yet. No, it's not. Can you hear this? Hang on. Oh yeah. Yeah, no. We'll leave it open for now. We'll see how you're heading, and we can make decisions later in the year. Oh, Jesus.
I distinctly remember writing this when we were on a stream, because I remember it was Sui or someone in the chat, and we laughed about it at the time, and my note to self, handwritten into this thing, is like, why, God, did you leave this in? And the sentence is, she didn't even pause, powering forward as if a devil were on her ass. Oh dear. And that one is funny, but I think it's funny for the inside joke rather than actually being funny. It's just kind of weird.
Well, it's also too, it's the terminology too. Is that, are you really going to have devils in your era that you're writing?
Well, I have people cursing in various different forms. It's not entirely consistent yet.
Yeah, I know, I've got that problem.
One of the main characters, instead of saying like God singular, it's always plural.
Yeah.
So it's playing with the idea of far future, various different religions. Also, I was writing character notes down the other day, and it actually really works for that character that I have that for, now that I have decided that the planet that she's from was a colony planet of 2 different colony ships, one Japanese, one North European, Norse sort of heritage.
Awesome.
So that combination works perfectly.
Yes.
So yeah, all of the fun stuff.
Okay. Well, it is now. Is it really? Yeah, it's 11 o'clock. It's time to call it quits.
Oh my God! When did that happen?
Apparently, about 4 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So we'll call it quits tonight, guys. Thanks for joining. It's good to see you, Em. We got to get you back on a stream eventually when we're back in some reasonable time difference. And whilst Charlotte's sitting there giggling about her own writing,
I really need to rewrite this book soon. Really need to.
Anything to plug?
I do. You can get tickets to my show. It's linked below, which is cool. I have a video out yesterday, and we'll have another one out soon. I've got about 3 on the go editing at the moment, or maybe it's 2 on the go editing. I've got a writing vlog coming out soon, and I have an IKEA vlog coming out soon. Depending on when I get time to edit, which I should have some time tomorrow to edit.
Awesome.
Other than that, I'm on the radio on Sunday night, but that will clash with another stream right here if you haven't run out of hours.
Well, I gotta find out. I think I may have. So
I'll be posting that over on Instagram and possibly Facebook, but probably Instagram is.
Oh, that's all right, Em. We'll just have you. We'll just have you come on for a writing stream so you can get some work done.
This is true. We have one on Wednesday, and I might do another pop-up soon.
Yeah.
In fact, I could do one Sunday morning. I've got time Sunday morning. I was maybe going to trim my hair a little bit, but it's not desperate.
I just trim your hair on stream, you know. You've done that before.
I've done it before. I just wanted to trim the fade, make it a little fresh again. It's only a couple of weeks old, but Yes. Anyway, plug, show, I'm on the radio. That's scary but cool. And videos coming eventually.
Awesome. And I've got links below to various things. If you are in the market for a notebook, I just follow the Amazon link to Vengeance Publishing. I've got A4 and A5s out now. And working on the B6 and B5s. That's the next challenge. I thought you were due for Wednesday this week, Em. And I thought, I must be out. I must be out weeks. But okay. Well, yeah. Okay, cool. So, sorry, I'm tired. It's time for bed.
Yes.
So,
it is.
thank you for joining. Go read the book. We'll do the second one in January because I think this might actually be a series we might get to the end of, as long as.
And I really want to be able to talk about the opening scene of book 2.
Okay.